I open this meeting of the Tyngsborough Conservation Commission under the State Wetland Protection Act, Mass General Law C-131 S-40, in accordance with the Town of Tyngsborough Wetland Protection Bylaw on this day, February 25th, 2025. First item on the agenda, 23 Chestnut Road.
Hi everyone, Maureen Harold, Norris Environmental Services. So I gave Emily an updated plan of the property. So one of the biggest things we were waiting for was a plan. Mr. Bacon, so to refresh your mind, Mr. Bacon received an enforcement order for the boardwalk through the wetland. When that had happened, he had said, well, I'm thinking of doing an addition. So I went out, I flagged all the resource areas, we got the property surveyed. That's the plan in front of you right now. I spoke to Mr. Bacon yesterday, and I said, are you sure you want to do the boardwalk? Because the boardwalk's in disrepair. And he's up in the air about it, and I'm hoping he's considering just completely removing the boardwalk as part of the notice of intent filing, and then proceeding with the addition. Because it's gonna be an awful lot of hurdles to jump through to try and get the boardwalk approved, because it's also located within priority habitat. I'm guessing a turtle, I don't know what's out there.
Yeah, and then also, the biggest problem with the boardwalk is it's got like, lattice.
Okay,
You know, so nothing can get under it. That's why the beavers became on the other side of it.
oh, you think that kinda encouraged
Yeah,
it?
It used to be behind the fire department. I've been out there for the last 30 years.
Okay. So he did say when he built it, I think he provided pictures to the commission.
He built it during the drought, though.
Right, but everything was just on the surface.
Yeah.
There was nothing drilled into the wetland or anything
No,
like
but
that.
yeah, that was my only concern, about nothing to get under it, through it, you know?
Right.
That's why the beavers changed their path, where they put the dam.
So he was gonna talk to his family this week. Once I get the okay, then I'm filing the notice of intent with the commission, and we'll be back.
Okay.
But that's the quick status update.
Yeah, no, sounds good. I figured that he was going back and forth between the two, because I think when he was before the board, I think he did mention that he was thinking about, it kind of started jogging his memory that they were thinking about doing the addition, and now that he has to go through the whole process with us for the addition as well, so.
Right.
I know he originally stated that to us.
And it's in tough shape, the boardwalk, so it's, I mean, if he was gonna keep it, he would have to improve it anyhow, you
Yeah.
know? So, okay,
Sounds good.
Thank you.
sure.
Next item on the agenda, 222 Massapog Road.
Okay, so I apologize for the late submittal of this paperwork, this narrative that the commission requested. I have extra copies here. And I can completely go through it, or I can give you the abridged version. The abridged version is, I do believe that I could get the permits through DEP for the beach sand and the beach wall. I went through, I addressed all the performance standards. I addressed the performance standards in terms of that wasn't even there, meaning the beach wall. I know there was some back and forth, was it there, was it not there? I think at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. I can't prove to the commission that there was a wall there. So I said, forget it, let's just go, there's no wall there. However, under your local wetland regulations and bylaws, I would need some waivers in order for us to keep that beach sand and that beach wall. But I'm happy to go through the performance standards if the commission would like me to.
So, Ed, should we start with addressing the wall first? Because that's what she's asking. My opinion on the wall, it's only gonna prevent erosion there.
Right, for the longevity of the property, the walls are better apart, but that the whole thing was, it wasn't done with permission.
Right, but
So-
we've been,
And there's a whole bunch of other underlying circumstances with this property, so.
yeah, but what I'm asking, and I think she's asking first, can we address the wall, and what do we have to do to get past that. I feel in the long run,
They have to prove that to the DEP why it should stay.
Yeah, which you pretty much
Right,
gave us tonight,
right,
going through the,
right.
everything.
Right.
I agree for the long run, it's better for the property,
I do too.
to keep the bank.
Yes,
It's just the way it was done, that's all.
well,
That's the only reason why he's in front of us.
Do you wanna just, I'm thinking about the resources, wanna just quickly talk about the, land subject to flooding, and basically, like, if you guys were to move forward with this, what would be the steps to, like, remediate it, to make sure it all fits within the regulations?
Okay, so this property has several resources. So we have a 200-foot riverfront area of an unnamed perennial stream. So off-site, I think that's east, but that looks like north now. Off-site, you can see the perennial stream, okay? It's presumed to be a river, so we have a 200-foot riverfront area. So that overlaps onto our property. We have the bank of Lake Massapog, which is a resource area. We also have bordering land subject to flooding or the 100-year floodplain. Now, the FEMA maps determine the 100-year floodplain to be at elevation 167.7, which is kind of shocking to me because Massapog is dammed up gradient and down gradient, and it's a lake.
they drain it every year.
Right. But
Not really.
Not every year.
But they have,
They
yes.
have, yeah.
They have been, yeah, so.
But it's considered a protected resource area, and if you look at the plan, you can see the 167, the 100-year floodplain called out. So it goes up quite a bit onto the property. So the narrative addresses the beach area as well as the wall. So, let's see, we have 75 cubic feet of beach sand within the 100-year floodplain or the bordering land subject to flooding. And we have 72 cubic feet for the wall. So this ultimately results in a net fill of 10 cubic feet, which is peanuts. It's not much. So this amount relates to about half an inch over the 300 square foot beach area. So we could either take some of the beach sand out or provide compensation on the property if the commission allows us to move forward with the NOI. But either way, we can meet the performance standards for floodplain. We can meet the performance standards for bank. I went through and I addressed the performance standards for bank, which is basically, you know, addressing the physical stability of the bank. The wall itself maintains the physical stability of the bank because the wave action was eroding the bank itself. The water carrying capacity of the existing channel within the bank, that relates more to like a stream channel, a perennial stream and floodplain. This portion of Lake Massapog doesn't have a stream channel, it's just the actual bank of the pond. The groundwater and surface water quality, you know, this granite bank wall wouldn't affect the groundwater, but it would protect the surface water quality because you wouldn't have erosion or sedimentation into the lake. The capacity of the bank to provide breeding habitat, escape cover, and food for fisheries. Again, I don't think the wall would affect any of that. In fact, most fish hide behind or near walls for shade, shelter, cover, escape from predators, and cooler water. And then I went through the riverfront area, and I adjust the regular riverfront standards because this area, we were saying it wasn't ever touched before. So we have, let's see, the installation of 300 square feet of beach sand in the bank wall located within the inner riparian, so that's the first 100 feet. Costas has stated that no trees were removed for the installation of the sand, and it looks like the sand was just put over leaf nettle duff, which is shown from some of the pictures that Ed took, so I'm making assumptions. They talk about stormwater management policy. Single-family dwellings aren't subject to stormwater management policy. They talk about, would the work impair the capacity of the riverfront area to provide important wildlife habitat functions? Work shall not result in impairment of the capacity to provide vernal pool habitat. Work with an undeveloped riverfront area shall not exceed 5,000 square feet. My opinion, the beach sand and the bank wall shouldn't affect any type of wildlife habitat functions. In fact, I know the turtles love the beach sand. There's no certified or potential vernal pools on the property. We're not located within estimated habitat. The beach sand is 300 square feet, the bank wall is 4,800 square feet. We're within that, but we're below the 5,000 square foot threshold. The previous NOI filing altered 617 square feet within the riverfront. So if you count this work and the previous work, we're less than 1,000 square feet. We're at 965. Again, proposed work shall not impair groundwater, surface water quality by incorporating erosion and sediment controls. And then it goes into the calculation of compensatory storage or replication wouldn't be included in the numbers. But again, the installation of the beach wall would protect the water quality. That's my opinion. And then as part of the riverfront, you have to do an alternative analysis. And really, the only alternative analysis is to remove the work that wasn't permitted, which is the beach sand and the bank wall. That's something that we can do. You know, we could put in native plantings and remove that, but I do think that, you know, you could do more harm than good in removing those items. I believe I can get this permitted under the Wetland Protection Act and DEP, but it's your bylaws and regulations. So the commission has no building of any kind in floodplain. So I don't know what the commission defines as building. Is this wall considered,
So when I had to deal with it, all right, you can't well, we all know you can't raise the grade in the floodplain. That's what he did. My concern on all this would be down the road, that it would have to be stated in the deed and the order of conditions that you can never raise the grade of the wall or the sand down there. So you wouldn't be able to keep adding to that sand like I have a natural beach on my piece of land that the lake takes in and out the sand, so
Okay.
I can add to out of the water, you know, I can
Yeah.
add to the beach, but he can't add because he'll be raising the grade.
right,
And we already would probably want something for compensatory storage to make up for what he's already raised. That's my concern about it, for down the road, that nothing happens anymore with this,
right.
you know, because it's just been drawn out too long. We're going on
A long time,
over 4 years.
right.
And then I guess like in 10 years, the granite blocks start to shift, or the sand starts to disappear, that he would just have to refile to have a more stable retaining wall in the future, because,
Yeah, you can't just go in and.
I mean, over time, the granite blocks, they are gonna
They're
shift.
gonna sink.
Right. Well, Costas is here tonight, so
Right.
he's hearing everything, all of your
Right,
concerns.
but that's, I want it stated on the,
Absolutely.
order of conditions and the
Yeah,
deed, so
which
that.
is
Yeah, but
fine.
even if you put an order condition in deeds, nobody's gonna, I mean,
No, but it's
They
down,
do-
I know it is, but it's down there down the road.
yeah,
so
then they'll
the
change it and
bond-
say, oh, sorry, somebody, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know, that's,
So the
It's been
other,
4 years, he hasn't listened since, right?
yeah.
the other bylaw or regulation is, your 30-foot no disturb. So obviously, the beach sand is within 30 feet of the bank of the pond. So in order for us to keep the beach sand, we would need a waiver, majority vote from the commission.
And I know what I had to deal personally, my rocks were 20 feet from the water, and I had to remove them. required me to remove them. Because I didn't ask. My own personal experience.
Huh.
So that's why I have why I have kind of a hard time with it. You know, I understand the erosion, because that's why mine was there,
Yeah,
you know, but that's just my concerns on this. It's really up to the board, it's not up to me.
You wanna go around and everybody give thoughts to it?
Yeah, Pat, you got any questions,
well-
thoughts?
Personally, I like the fact of the wall.
Yeah.
We're all upset about what's transpired here. It's going on way too long. The grade of the sand, you know, if we can get through getting this put through, we would probably have to put some stipulations in that. Just say if the sand did diminish, that he would have to come back in for a permit for replenishing that sand that disappeared. But I think in the long run, the wall's gonna prevent that from happening. Especially if what I've seen there, and I have friends that live on that lake, jet skiing and boating. It doesn't matter, all the properties around here on Ed's Lake and Eddy, it's the same thing over and over and over again. And the only properties that seem to maintain are the ones that have walls. The ones that don't have walls end up in the lake. This is just my opinion. I like the fact that the wall's there. I don't like the fact that how this all happened. Absolutely. If it comes down to this board making the final decision on this, I'd like to get through this now and end it. Whatever way we have to, you know, otherwise, he's gonna have to go through with Maureen, the engineer, through DEP, and it's gonna be a long process.
Still have to.
They still have to. It's gonna be a longer process, and it might end up coming back here too. Or probably will. So, I don't know, I think that we gotta figure a way of getting through this now. And I think the first thing is solving the wall problem, and then figuring out what we're gonna do with the sand. But I believe the only way that sand's gonna stay there is with the wall. It's not gonna be there.
Sand ain't gonna be there.
Well, Eddie, it will after the wall stays, well,
No, I'm just saying, see how the sand's on top of the wall?
yes,
That's gonna wash right out.
on top, but what's behind it,
That's gonna wash out. You get heavy rains,
yeah,
you know what rain does to sand?
Oh, yeah.
That's gonna wash. That ain't gonna last. Water's gonna come down that hill, that's gonna wash right under that wall, it's gonna wash out everywhere. Sand will not stay with heavy rains. I've been, you know,
no, you guys live on the lake, I
Right.
don't, I understand.
I have culverts, I have pipes to try to divert it, and heavy rain just washes, you see, it's gonna you're telling me,
it's just on
heavy rain is not gonna wash that sand right out?
you know,
If you get a
I-
heavy rain for 5 hours, you tell me that sand's not gonna wash out?
I'm not saying a grain of sand wouldn't wash out.
It's gonna wash out.
But I do think that area is relatively flat. I don't think it's all gonna wash out in a heavy rain event.
You're gonna get gullies in there, because water's gonna run down that hill and wanna run to the lake, and it's gonna cause divots and ruts, and it's gonna rake it, and it's just gonna go over that wall, around the wall, it's gonna wash out. He's gonna be adding sand there every year. He's gonna have to refill that every single year, guaranteed, 1,000%. There's no way in heck sand's gonna come down that hill. Look at that hill, you're telling me heavy rain's not gonna wash it. You're gonna get gullies and divots. I mean, yeah, the pictures are now, because it's all raked, except for the little footprints.
Yeah.
You know what I
those-
mean?
Yeah.
You're telling me heavy rain's not gonna
Well,
wash that out?
that's when the sand was first put down in 2020.
Well, yeah, this picture is 2020, there's one
Yeah, it's
2025.
May 2020.
Right. But you're telling me that sand stays flat, it never washes out?
It does not wash out.
I just find it hard to believe.
Cost is
Just sit at the table with
Sit-
Maureen.
yeah.
So you know the heavy rains that we had this year.
Right.
It was torrential.
And it never washes. The
Never
the
washed
sand stays
away.
flat perfectly.
No, and
so
I
it's-
don't get any runoff any longer because of the way I did the driveway, and I constructed, did you see it's kind of like that little wall to stop
Yeah,
the
you just
flow?
put,
Yeah, with little spaces.
I think what we do then, so next heavy rain, take videos.
Absolutely.
And I'd like to see the videos. I'd be shocked, because I've never
Absolutely no
seen
doubt about it,
heavy,
yeah.
you know, especially on a hill. Have you ever seen sand not wash out? Okay, I'm just saying.
Look what happens from me from the road.
Right, I've seen it. There's gullies. It happens at my house all the time, and I fight with it. It's just, it washes out, especially if it's got no stoppage, no drainage before it.
Well, it does. So I put in grass, so that's why these retaining walls are there. So there's grass, which stops a lot of it. Well, first of all, I stop it at the driveway, so it doesn't run. Then there's the grass, and then I've got probably, I don't know, 18, 20 plants on the banking that you've seen, so. I'm telling you right now, I don't add any sand to that, and that's the way it maintains.
I'm shocked.
You'll have to have a rain party.
Yeah.
Everybody over.
This year was.
Bruce,
we
you're
had
up.
some really big rains.
You're up.
I mean, what do you think? You think, I mean, you look at that, it's like,
Yeah, I think there's not a lot of benefit to take the wall
that I agree with.
out.
That-
But I don't, I'm concerned about the sand. I don't know about washing out, but I think it's over,
It's not gonna
we
stay that
we
way.
haven't had a good track record with our clients, and so I'd rather have us go a little further on cutting back the sand or doing something about the sand,
Right.
rather than just let it go through as it is, because I don't have a lot of confidence it's always gonna be,
No, I don't have confidence in sand either.
so.
I'd rather see it come out and put grass. Rip all the sand out and put grass.
How about digging a trench, hand digging a trench in, behind the wall and silt fence it? I mean, it becomes a screen to stop the sand from going through the wall. That seems to be what you're pertaining to, is basically that sand's gonna wash, what you're saying is the sand's gonna wash through the cracks of the walls.
The problem, you see the one I did at my house?
Yes,
But you know what's funny? And that there, what happens, trust me, you see my,
Yeah,
I
both
bet,
there.
I got that big grate and the
Yeah.
water runs, you know what I mean? And I'm out there at least 5 times during the summer, because when I get heavy rains, it clogs, all the crap gets filled in it, I'm there with a frickin' shop vac, putting it in there and trying to unclog it. Then when it does clog, it goes right down on my waterfront and just washes out the sand. I think if it's all grass, it's gonna stabilize it and harden it up, and then that'll be it. Then you're not gonna have any kind of coming back with the, every time it goes out of level and it starts raising up again, and people are down there complaining, oh, he's adding more sand again, they're coming back to us. You know what I mean? Just take that sand out and put grass in, and you're done.
which that's what was there in the.
And then, right, take it out and sod it. Put sod in, it's gonna be firm, solid, that's it, done. You're not worried about coming back in like a couple of years, he's gotta raise the property because the sand washed out. Bringing trucks down there, they're calling us again, oh, he's putting more sand in, you know that's gonna happen. It wasn't, you know what I mean? Put it back the way
No,
it was
you're
originally.
not wrong.
I can-
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, taking out the wall, it would do more damage than.
Yes, I agree, the wall should stay, I agree.
And I do agree on maybe, just remove the sand and just do
Put loom there. Put, you know,
whatever was there
loom and
before.
sod.
Loam it and sod it.
Sod it, it's done. The height will never change, it's done, we're over, we don't have to deal with this anymore. It's been 4 years, we gotta be done. That's just my, that's just.
No, it
that's my
makes more
opinion.
sense because the loam will absorb the water, the grass will absorb, it's like a tree drinks 200 gallons a year.
Plus the
Every
height.
time somebody cuts one down,
Plus, the height now is perfect. It's not gonna change the height, we don't have to worry about, adding more sand, he made a beach, it's gonna wash out, and then, that's just my opinion.
Rob, what are your thoughts?
Pretty much, I agree. Taking the wall out is not gonna help the matter, and I agree with Ed on the matter of the sand washing out. I just look at the Town Beach. There's a 2-foot deep gully that
Right.
forms every time it rains. So I would be in favor of have an order of condition to replace the sand with a loam and seed.
or sod. That way, it's quick, you know what I mean? You put the sod down, you're not worried about any kind of,
Planting.
yes, yep, any kind of runoff, but, you know, trying to get the grass to grow. Sod, and it's not a huge area for sod. That way we don't have to deal with later on too, you know, adding more sand because the level went down. And it was originally all grass anyway, right?
I think it was
It was
just dirt.
dirtish
Dirt.
grass.
It was dirt, it wasn't a sandy
You can see
beach.
it over here in this picture.
Well, there's a lot of pine trees here. I'm sure it's gonna be a lot of litter over time and.
Right.
You know, rather than trying to dress it up and combating that in future years, we'll just,
Right,
Or, I mean, just to play devil's advocate, you could just say that he just would not be able to replace the sand. And that it just, whatever is there stays there. It meets,
okay, then what happens a year from now when it does get a washout and he starts dumping more sand down there? Okay, so we can't control that.
no.
We're doing this for 4 years. What's the track record of them calling us before they do something? Is it good?
No.
No, exactly. So I think if we just rip the sand out, put in sod, we're done. The height's never gonna change now. It's permanent. We're done. We don't have to worry about in the order conditions that he can't change the height, can't change the elevations. He's gotta come back every time he's gotta do something because there's elevation problems. And we're done. That's just my opinion.
No, I can understand that part of it, for long-term.
Yes.
Definitely for long-term. I understand where you're coming from, Eddie.
The wall should stay.
Right.
I agree, the wall should stay.
I mean, I'm looking at what it's gonna take to get rid of that sand, bring loam in, and sod it.
Right.
You don't have to get rid of all the sand, just you need
But he's gonna need at least 6 inches of loam, Eddie, to get that.
Mix them
two
up.
with sod.
Yeah, put sod, but you want the
And
sod
mixer.
to work, you better have good loam underneath it.
Sod's already gonna be this thick with dirt.
Okay, so I know I did it in my yard. I spent a lot of money.
I mean, they got the sand
My
down
whole
there.
can
lake,
just
I
mix it up
sodded
with
my
the
whole
loam.
lake.
You sodded it? Yep.
Yes, I sodded it,
Yep.
so I know what's involved.
So I did a half an acre behind my house, and I had them come in and strip what was there, bring all new loam in,
That's the only way to do it.
yep, and I have a backyard that's a golf course.
Do it by hand or with a machine?
I had to go in with a small bobcat.
Yeah.
It's just so much work.
The problem I have is how do I get a little bobcat?
Right,
down? How do I get a machine down?
Though, but to the point, that's not really our concern.
Right.
Right.
Not to be a
How did
jerk,
you- yeah, how
not
did you
to be
bring
a
the
jerk
sand?
about it.
Yeah.
How was the sand brought?
I'm just stating the facts. It's not our concern.
One wheelbarrow at a time. You get 2 or 3 guys, push the wheelbarrow up the top of the hill.
Yeah, I mean, I've been through it, so, and I know what I had.
But you can also mix that sand with the loam,
What?
and the grass would do just
Yes,
fine
you
with it.
can.
Actually, it would do even better. That's what they do on the golf course.
Yeah, the golf courses all got sand underneath
Yeah,
Underneath the loom?
yeah.
not much loam, because it has to.
They would
that's
do
why
even
That's
better.
why they water it 2 or 3 times a day. They water it at night.
Would the commission consider a strip of sod in front of the wall and allow the sand?
No,
What, well, the sod would prevent any type of?
no,
Why?
because I think all the sand's, that's just my opinion. I want all the sand, that's me. I'm just one
Okay.
vote. I'd like to see the sand gone and sod, and all sod put down. Like I said, that's just me, that's just my vote, or my opinion.
Okay, so in terms of proceeding forward, how do we proceed forward? The commission wants me to file a notice of intent? Is that the next step in this?
Yeah, with the, but on the notice of intent, have the sand out and sod in.
Leave the wall.
Leave the wall.
That seems to be the
I
consensus.
just, this, at least we can get through this.
Yeah, no, I understand.
I mean,
understand.
Ed's right, there's,
If it was easy to do, I'd say, I wouldn't even say, it's
look
just,
at-
now I gotta figure out how to get that out
we
of
were
there.
looking at making you put a crane in there to take the wall out.
Right.
Just so you understand, just as from my personal experience, so half of my property's in the floodplain. I put a gravel driveway to the lake, all right? I could not raise the grade in the whole property, because even the part that's out of the floodplain. you have raised the grade in the floodplain. This is from this is, you know, allowing the wall to stay and everything, you've already raised the grade of the property in the floodplain.
Okay.
All right, I couldn't even do it with stone, and I put a geo grate in there underneath the stone, so it is full stormwater drainage for the whole property back into the land, not into the lake. And I still couldn't raise the grade.
And by keeping it all sand, you're keeping it on us to monitor it, if he has to, you know what I mean? That's not, I don't wanna spend the next 10 years monitoring this property for the sand levels and heights and, you know what I mean? If it's sod, it's gone, we're done.
Right.
You know what I mean? It'll actually look nice, you know what I mean? No worry about erosion, no worry about the heights changing, him coming back and saying, yeah, this just washed out, I gotta do this, and this, we're done.
Because you're looking at it like we're being hard on you, but we're actually compensating. We're allowing you to keep the wall,
Yeah, oh, I understand, I
all
understand.
right?
That's-
And again, I don't want to keep bringing it up, but personal experience.
Yeah, no, we just, you know, the thing is, I just can't I just can't put all that, the loom or the sod that I need. I just can't put it on, because now I'm raising everything even more, so
That's
some
why
of the
it
sand's
takes
gotta
them
come
on.
out.
why it
Yeah, well,
takes them
it's part of compensating back and forth.
What about, do we have to deal because there's other people
I
that
couldn't
are
even just,
right away to this?
No.
that's not our
But I'm asking.
I know, but that's legal, that's legal.
Okay,
That's-
I just,
So, and just so I can even go further on the floodplain, I couldn't have raised flower beds in the floodplain. Which
It's
is,
a bit over the top, Mr.
you
Chairman.
don't have to tell me.
You know, I mean-
I had the arguments with
Yeah.
DEP on it,
Yeah,
all right? I had to take them out,
yeah. Flower
you
pots.
know? And that's not
cuckoo.
that's not along the shore. That's
grief.
the length of the 100 feet going to the property.
Right.
All right, in the floodplain, I could not raise the grade anywhere. If you see all my property, I have raised beds with shrubs and everything, but in the floodplain, I had to stop it.
Yeah.
So I'm just, you know,
Should they vote to move forward?
yeah, I mean, I don't really have a problem with the wall if we can come up with
No,
what we want that satisfies the board for the rest of it.
Well, I think the wall is fine. She's gonna file a new notice of intent, but on the notice of intent, have the sand coming out and sod going down. And then if DEP's fine with it, and then we'll do the waiver. Is that okay?
Yeah,
That's what you guys want?
yeah.
that's what you know,
yeah, I'm fine with it. I mean, I guess we have to give a little to get at the end of the day, and so doesn't he.
Right.
There's still the whole public hearing process to
Right.
vet all of this out too, so we
Yeah.
haven't seen what they're gonna come up with finally.
right.
Right.
Yes,
Okay, yeah.
exactly.
They could come up with something really in grass and a patio and something,
No,
Oh,
I don't
all
think
right,
so.
hey, quiet down over there.
No,
Okay.
we love Tammy's input.
So I
We
would,
wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that woman over there.
I would recommend that you guys make a vote to allow him to move forward with the filing of the notice of intent.
With the change that
Yeah,
the sand comes out and then,
Sure.
the darker side.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion that we let them move forward to file for a notice of intent with keeping the wall and all the sand being removed and replaced with sod.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None.
All right, thank you. I'll be back.
Thank you.
We'll see you again.
Good luck.
Three Maryland Drive, above-ground pool filled within the buffer zone to a nearby wetland.
So I've been going back through our database, just kind of trying to close things up, and I realized you guys did not vote to lift the enforcement order on this property when we issued this certificate of compliance. So if you guys could just make the motion to
Madam
lift
Chair-
it.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to lift the enforcement order on 3 Maryland Drive.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Certificate of Compliance, 17 Alden Street, Long Pond Shore Conservation Area, map 30, parcel 12-0. Request for certificate of compliance and release DEP number 3090954. Order and conditions and stormwater management permit issued 7/22/2020 and 7/28/2020.
So everything's all set with this?
Yep.
Mr. Chair, I'd like a motion to issue order, certificate of compliance for DEP number
For
309.
17 Alden.
17 All Street, DP number 309-0954, dated 7/22/2020.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
The chair would like to make a motion to issue a certificate of release for the stormwater management permit issued 7/28/2020.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Are you on that?
Thank you.
Another second, you thought I might have missed it, right?
No, it was, I didn't want to make it a mouthful,
Well, that's better that way with two different motions.
Approval minutes, February 11, 2025.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes as written for February 11th, 2025 by the Queen.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No correspondence, new business. Notification of utility maintenance, Mass Electric Company.
So I got in the mail, and it was, actually headlined to you, Mr. Chair, that the Mass Electric Company wanted to notify the commission of doing maintenance along existing 57 L3 electric distribution in Tyngsborough. So I didn't put the map up because it was together, but it's basically the last portion of Scribner Road right before it goes into Westford. I mean, yeah, well, it goes into Westford, but it's Dunstable Road. And majority of the work they're doing for the power lines is in Westford. It's just they're going up the hill a little bit into Scribner. So figured I'd just let you guys know. I don't know when the work's supposed to begin, but they are notifying you guys.
Are they gonna tell the people to? Are they gonna take down the pole?
Well, I think they're just replacing the power poles, so.
Okay, so they shouldn't be taking down the pole.
No, yeah, they're replacing existing electrical distribution poles, and then they list them all, and then replacing existing anchors and overhead wire, distribution electric wires.
Thank you.
Next item on the business, 50 Westford Road, site plan modification.
The business group that's putting up the temple on 50 Westford, talked to me, Ben and Pam, about doing some site change modifications. A lot has to do mostly with planning board, but I wanted to bring to the attention of you guys that, and it's in your packets, that they will be changing some stormwater-related things. They redid a whole drainage analysis, but basically, the whole calculations aren't changing. What they're changing is the R-tank chambers to Kolchak chambers, which are the infiltration chambers under the ground. And then they are changing this, they're proposing storm scepter water quality units instead of, they're proposing HydroWorks water quality units instead of the storm scepter water quality units. And that's like the actual catch basin that like goes into the ground. So they're just changing manufacturers, basically. And they said in the meeting that the drainage calculations, the outflow, inflow, the basins, nothing else is changing. It's just those portions. But they did revise their drainage calculations. Dave Nader from TEC will review that for the planning board. But majority of the other changes were for planning board. They have to add a utility pole. They had to move some parking spots around because they had to, the retaining wall that abuts Potash Hill, they had to shift it a little bit because once they dug into the ground, they realized it's more stable, more towards the left than to the right. So they had to move some parking spots around, and then they're just expanding their basement. Because originally they were only doing a little bit of the basement. So Pam, if you zoom in a little bit.
Yeah.
You see the building, the light gray shading in the building is what they're proposing for the basement. So that's what they're gonna do, so,
What was it
again, that
before?
really doesn't have to do with us, but I figured I'd bring it to you guys' attention. And if you guys have any questions about the stormwater-related things, you can let me know. I personally felt I don't think it needed an amendment to the permit, just because the drainage calculations really didn't change, but that is up to you guys if you guys do
They had a-
want them
they
to
had a
amend the
very-
permit.
Very good stormwater plan, and this was in front of us before, a very good one.
Yeah,
Yeah, long as none of that's changing originally, because I was real concerned about the water coming off that driveway down Potash Hill. That's, the concern I have about some other issues I've brought forward to you. And I don't want to see that, because it's something that we are going to have to address down the road, Potash Hill.
yeah.
All that drainage. So that's all I care about, that's not coming down that driveway.
No,
They're maintaining their own water.
yeah. But I did give you guys, Pam put in your packets, the actual narrative that MBL supplied and then the site plan. So if you guys do end up reviewing it at future and you have any questions, you can let me know, because they're going before planning board, hopefully for March 6th. So there's a little bit of time if other questions do arise.
Okay, good. So this is it, this was it,
Yep,
right?
all set.
We're done.
All right, the next thing for new business is, there's a benefit, March 2nd at the boat for
Yeah.
Lake Ness Shepherd for the weed control,
Should be fun. Polar plunge.
polar plunge, so it's to help pay for the weed, for the weeds.
Weed control.
Yep.
We got a bigger chainsaw, yes. We got 22 inches
When's
of,
the date?
28
Sunday,
inch,
this Sunday.
March 2nd.
This Sunday.
This Sunday?
Sunday, yeah,
At the boat
1
for
o'clock,
the donations to weed treatment.
to weed treatment.
Yeah, we got 3 bands playing, we got a polar plunge. And we tested the ice on Saturday, and it's 22 inches thick. So we had to get a bigger chainsaw.
Oh, how fun.
Well, one of my clients called and said, he's an engineer at UMass Lowell and he teaches. He goes, I finally see ice on the Merrimack River.
Been a good 10 years.
Yes, the last time I saw ice, honestly, I saw a guy jump off the Tyngsborough Bridge, and he did not go through. He broke both his legs. I was driving up the road, and I'm like, no, this guy's gonna jump, and he did.
I can't believe it's that thick.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yep, we had the cold weather with no snow.
So what do you guys plan, how are you guys gonna do the polar plunge, off the Dracut Beach?
Yeah,
Are you guys gonna cut into the ice, or are you gonna hope that, yeah?
Oh, yeah, we got to cut.
Sunday.
I got a busy weekend.
That's me and
This
Ed.
Sunday, you should go. That's exciting.
We got a 24-inch chainsaw,
28,
28.
just in case.
Okay.
So I get a motion to adjourn,
Yeah.
Second?
all in favor?
Good night.
Good night.
Meeting adjourned.
With the-